Proverbs 18:9 says, "The man who is slack in his work is own brother to the man who is destructive." When I see that word destructive, I think of like somebody using plastic explosives or using explosives in order to take down an old, abandoned, decrepit building. Or I think of a wrecking ball, or I think of a bulldozer that just wrecks things. And those things that I mentioned, the explosives, the wrecking ball, the bulldozer, they destroy things in an instant. But it says here, a man who is slack in his work is own brother to the man who is destructive. So destruction happens in a foul swoop, in one moment. But it says the man who is slack in his work is just like this. It's just that the method of the slack man is just a slower way of destruction. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, let's go back to the example of the abandoned building. We know that sometimes buildings become unsafe and they need to be torn down. So, we use explosives to implode the building or a wrecking ball to tear it down little by little. But in the same way, when somebody is constructing a building, the same end, destruction is going to be the same end if a person uses substandard material or tries to take shortcuts or cut corners to try to um, pass through loopholes of building codes, and they don't do their very best in putting the building together because of the sloppy work, the shortcuts, the cutting corners, the ignoring safety rules and building codes, and using substandard material. It's going to be the same end. It's just going to take longer to get to that end. That's why it's so important for us as believers in Messiah Yeshua Jesus Christ to do our very best, to do our very best work, because we want to be a party to life and creativity and edification and building up. We don't want to be akin or a party to destruction. And when we don't do our best and we don't put our best foot forward, and we're lazy and sloppy and become lackadaisical in our work and take shortcuts and don't do our best and use substandard material, so to speak, physically or spiritually, we're just as bad as somebody who vandalizes, or just as bad as somebody who comes with a sledgehammer or wrecking ball to tear down a wall. It's no different. It's the same thing. It just takes longer to get to that point when you're slack or lazy in your work. And how we work is reflectant upon who our boss is. When a building project goes bad, yeah, sure, it's the workers who's at fault, but who gets the blame for it? It's the manager. It's the one who oversees these workers. Maybe he didn't even know about it, but irregardless, it happened under his watch. So it's usually the manager that gets the blame. I mean, the workers get punished as well, but the manager takes the brunt of it. So when we're sloppy in our work and we don't do our very best, and people say, "You're a believer in God. You claim to follow Yeshua. You claim to follow Jesus. You claim to obey the Word of God and follow the Bible." Well, look at your work. It's slipshod. It's sloppy. It's lazy. It's you're cutting corners. You're using substandard material. If that's any reflection on the God that you follow, I don't want to have anything to do with your God or your religion or your faith. And so, whatever we say and do reflects on who we serve. It's no different growing up. Whenever I did something really stupid that embarrassed my parents, my parents thought, oh, the other parents are going to think that I raised my kid to be an idiot or to raise my kid with bad manners. And so whenever I embarrassed my parents by my free will choice and actions, it reflected on my parents, whether they taught me to do that or not, or whether they attributed to what I did or not. It reflected on them nonetheless, and so they were embarrassed because, like, oh well, I don't want anybody to think that I allow my child to act this way, or that I taught my child to do this. And I remember going over to people's houses, and everybody would get together. The adults would be talking and the kids would be playing, and one of the kids would cry and go tattletale. Well, who was the first person that got blamed? Usually it was me, because my parents was like, okay, I'm not going to put it past my kid to do something like this. So whether he did it or not, I'm going to punish him to show the rest of the parents that, I care about their child. So whether I did it or not, just in case, my parents usually punished me and blamed me first until the real culprit was found out. But that's kind of way off on a bunny trail. But back to the point at hand, it says the man who is slack in his work, his own brother to the man who is destructive. So we don't want to be akin to that, because the enemy, the evil one, Satan, is the one who kills, steals, and destroys. Yeshua, God, came that we might have life and might have it more abundantly. He's the one who is about life and edification and building up, and that's who we want to be related to and akin to, and be in the camp of. So, guys, today go out there and do your best, no matter what it is, no matter where you are. Have a great day. God bless. Thanks for watching. Stay connected by subscribing to our other social media accounts and visiting our website at abrahamsdescendants.com.